Welcome back to Founder Mode. Special episode this week. We're going to do something kind of new and maybe kind of cool.
Yeah, we're going to share our favorite clips from the first 20 episodes of Founder Mode. Let's get into it.
Can't wait.
We opened this whole series by redefining luck.
Luck's not a lottery ticket. It's reps, compounding, and surface area.
Luck is a skill you can manufacture it, which is kind of counterintuitive, right? Are people who are lucky actually lucky, or did they create their own luck?
People don't see the reps you put in to go and to get the final outcome. How does luck turn into that compounding sort of effort that allows you to say, here, now I created the situation where I was lucky?
Founders think they can sprint forever.
But burnout always collects interest.
I think there's this fallacy that I can just run really fast at everything all at once. Like founders are like, I am superhuman and the laws of physics don't apply to me. I don't need sleep. I don't need to stop and eat that meal. My family will be there whenever I stop working. Like it's all going to be fine. I'm just going to run really fast and, break things in the tech startup sense. But the reality is that you're actually breaking stuff. And between breaking your own body, your own mind, your kind of support system, there's a bunch of casualties. Alex built a 6-figure SaaS solo.
But 0.01% of the code was actually typed by him. AI did the rest.
I built Creator Buddy over the last 6 months, launched it about a month ago. I basically took my content creation system that I used over the last 3 years while I was working a 9-to-5, right? I was trying to come up with content as I, had this very strenuous job. I took that system that allowed me to come up with endless content ideas, push out tons of content and grow to hundreds of thousands of followers. I took that system and I turned it into software, right? And so first thing I was thinking about when I did this, I just want to build an app for myself that makes my life a lot easier. And as I started building it, I'm like, okay, other people could use this and this would bring tons of value to them.
Anxiety isn't a bug, it's fuel.
Bill Russell threw up before every game. Founders feel the same.
Anxiety just has to be there. And the sooner you accept the fact that it will always be there no matter what, it's there to help you and not harm you if you know how to ride that. Bill Russell, one of the most legendary NBA players ever, he threw up before every single game he played.
Crazy.
That's 1,200 something games. So that anxiety was there when it mattered and when it didn't matter. So why would a founder in 2025 accept there to be no anxiety if Bill Russell is playing a last place team, like the best player of the era, and he's throwing up because of how nervous he is?
The biggest unlock, just ask.
But ask with clarity, fairness, and conviction.
People are much more likely to fund your company or hire you if you show that you're trustworthy. And one of the best ways to do that is through references. I started looking up people at Shopify that I was interviewing with, and I realized that I had a mutual connection with the president of the company. And so I reached out and I asked him, I said, hey, if you truly believe I'd be a great fit, I'd appreciate an intro or some sort of endorsement. And it was never hey, I need a favor, please hype me. I was really authentic with him and I said no pressure whatsoever. I think that's also super important where it's yeah, you want to be grounded, you want to be clear, you want to make sure your ask is reasonable, but also give people an out.
The word that saves founders? No.
Boundaries build trust, not enemies.
An absence of answer is, in a sense, leaving that bridge open. But if you do, playing strategically, leaving that open and the response, right? I think that is the key. Because it depends, who it's from, right? If it's somebody strategic that I actually do want to work with, then yeah, there is definitely a scenario where I'm sorry, we don't have the bandwidth right now. That's usually the most honest answer, I think. It's if you're running a startup of any size, I'm sure regardless of how much resource you have, you always have a confine in how much output. It's always a resource game, right? And it's just it's hard to allocate that unless there's a budget allocated to it. unless there's revenue on the table, like it's hard to allocate that, right? So I think that is usually the play. Like, I'm like interested, but like down the road, not right now.
From flurry to accompli, Peter cracked go to market.
It all comes down to empathy.
The biggest single word that I think is the most important word, which is also probably going to be a relief to people dealing with the question of will AI replace my job? AI won't replace your job, it'll change your job. A big difference between a good marketer and a good product person is empathy. And so, and what I mean is like, can you put yourself in the shoes of that customer and like, what's their pain? What's their aspiration? What are the dynamics like at work for them to make a decision? How easy are you making it for them to try you and make a decision? So like that momentum piece is really, I think it comes from somehow understanding the customer really well.
If it's just an AI wrapper, it won't last.
The moat is solving what used to be impossible.
People think that the bottleneck is actually the hardware, when in reality, it's not the hardware, it's the real like time data where there's just simply not enough models to kind of train it on. With software, it's a lot different because you can just train it off of X or Reddit or like, with Grok, for example, just pulling from all the X posts. But I think to get real life footage is, that's why Tesla was ahead of the curve when they were doing FSD. And, then you look at Waymo or you look at, in the past, Cruise or Zoox, where they're having to basically send vehicles as test vehicles to collect it. I mean, the reason Elon was ahead of the curve with Tesla is because he was able to just have drivers like us,
We
go
were
around.
collecting data for Elon for a
We're the
long
Tesla
time.
training team right here, the trio.
Exactly, right? And so I think that was a brilliant move on his part because everyone else is behind.
Megan hacked building permits to launch retail.
Under 8 feet and under 50 square feet. No permit required.
Buy Reveal was a pop-up company. We basically did small format kiosks that got deployed pretty much anywhere consumers were. So sidewalks, hotel lobbies, corporate lobbies, malls, public plazas, parks, pretty much anywhere.
Amazing.
And it was this small format boutique that could get deployed in under an hour where consumers could come, touch and feel products, and then transact directly on site. And so then I started looking at the permits, and I realized that if something was under 8 feet, and under 50 square feet, technically it was not a building. Therefore, it did not need to meet building codes or building permits.
Nice.
I just needed a sales permit. And all I needed to do was like the business that it was in front of, they needed to approve it. And then I needed like a seller's license and I could pretty much go anywhere I wanted. So I was just trying to hack the building permits. And that was how I designed the kiosk to be able to fit within those parameters.
From Outlook Mobile to AI copilots.
JJ says every founder now has to think fast software.
We are in this weird moment when AI is like really, really useful, extremely useful, to almost too useful to be dangerous, right? But at the same time, not very reliable. So it cannot really do things fully autonomously. So the paradigm between sort of like a co-pilot paradigm and the independent, another dev on the team paradigm, we are quickly moving toward that, but not there yet. This is why Devon may not work the best today yet for a lot of tasks, but I'm sure that, in a period of time, everyone will be on the other side.
Design love means nothing if the box never ships.
Sam built GIR from spatula to pattern brands.
I have this phrase that I didn't coin, but that I come back to all the time, which is the collision with the customer. And like no plan survives the collision with the customer.
Love it.
Launching our Kickstarter was a pre-market collision with the customer because pre-selling spatulas, but I had effectively customers that I owed, time and attention and ultimately products to. And so I think that crowdfunding is such a fascinating tool for that reason. Like you get to learn from your customers, but you also have to support them much earlier on that you might have. Yes, my job was product, and yes, my job was building our website. And also, yes, my job was talking to factories, but my job was talking to customers and making them happy, before they had anything, but they hadn't even given me dollars. Actually, they just pledged to give me their dollars. I'm like, I have nothing, but I owe you a lot.
From Hollywood robots to nuclear power plants, ASA shows why safety and simplicity win.
This stunt double reactor practice run blew my mind.
Yeah, as you can imagine, they're very very careful people. Those who run nuclear reactors,
Makes sense.
they're very careful, kind of ramp up to get to the point where you can go in and fly during an active mission. To the point where you have to go and weigh every single part of your drone. It gets weighed before it goes in, and it gets weighed when it comes out. There had better be the exact same mass. It has to be able to be used with glove, or essentially sort of hardening it to the point where you're sending it into outer space almost. Kind of just hammered on this problem for maybe a year and a half, something like that, to go through all of the different checks, proving that we could do it inside at our place. And then we go to their training reactor, where they have a full training mock-up, which is the full size thing sitting.
What?
Yeah.
And then exact same size, just
100%. Yeah. Do that enough times. We had
the movie analogy, the film analogy is like the stunt double. This is the stunt double nuclear reactor.
Yeah, I understand this is very different from software. You just can't, you can't just throw it out there.
Kevin vibe coded 6 apps before we recorded.
No quick rips on the. Yeah, I'm like shipping apps as we were like logging onto the podcast.
Yeah, not quite.
Dennis built AI scheduling agents years before there were LLMs.
The brutal lesson: 32 million hand-labeled emails.
Any startup is probably one of two things. It's 1,000 things, but it's certainly a startup where you're trying to solve either some market challenge and or a science challenge. Try not to solve both at the same time. It's going to be twice as hard. So Airbnb is not a technical challenge. That is you trying to figure out whether can I have murderers sleep in my apartment while I'm here and I'm okay with that, or whatever the business plan might look like. Or is it a science challenge like X.AI, for where we at that moment in 2014 thought we could carve out just a corner of the language universe, build a set of models where we could navigate that. Pre-LLM, for where it kind of looks like we solved language, certainly to a large degree now, but certainly not back then. So to answer your question, we're in that bucket where we were brave enough or foolish enough to believe we could carve out that particular corner for where we could create this agent that could converse on scheduling only. And we did it on a labeled data set, which we assembled. So 32 million hand-labeled items.
Founders don't need perfect days. It's just a daily 15 minutes that compounds.
Small wins every day. Push-ups count.
Think of like your body, and when you wake up in the morning, is like, what's the first thing I need to do for my body in a healthy way, mentally and physically, And that would be probably still, whether it's just getting on the floor, doing some abs, or, doing a set of push-ups. It starts there. The small things will create. You don't need a gym. It really does. And it goes across the board with the eating too. Yeah.
Suja says stop selling pieces, ship outcomes.
Build applications, not toolkits.
People want an Uber, and right now they're being sold car parts. They're like, here you go, here's a steering wheel, here's some engine, go build it yourself.
Yeah.
Bro, I just want to go from point A to point B, like just give me an Uber and get me there. Yeah. And I think that's the opportunity right now, right? That you don't need to sell the tools. You want to be able to think through the AI applications from like first principles and be able to deliver the transportation is what the clients want, not the tools that they need to go and do that with.
Angus carries a roadmap of hypotheses.
Fail forward fast and travel zero drag.
I think there's really like two different situations here. Internally, it needs to be about your roadmap of hypotheses instead of like every single thing we build is gonna crush. I actually think I like to pull the failure forward. Every PM should be failing first thing in the morning. Like you should be hitting the model, seeing whether it can do the thing you want it to do. And so I think bring those failures forward and then learn whether you're gonna make it do what you want it to do.
The moat isn't hype. It's hardware and proprietary data.
Hybrid. Old, smart, fast, fearless.
Let's start from the software. Not only do I have to build just the best software that people that want to use, they like to use, has an API, everything that a software company has to do, but we also have to make something that physically works in the water that you open up that has, for us, a cartridge and a battery. It degrades over time. It's sitting in water. It gets waterlogged. Like no software company has those issues, right? So if you get the hardware right, you now have a moat is kind of thing number one. Thing two is that you actually get a proprietary data mechanism, right? It's probably one way to think about it. Like the thing is inside the water and it's collecting data that otherwise a SaaS, like just a pure chemistry water SaaS company would never have access to unless they asked Jason, hey, can you go in your pool, measure your pool water and give us the data? But now I'm making you the human do something. And so I think that's kind of the real benefit of having both a hardware, software, and a service all kind of combined into one.
Ride with the people who'd follow you anywhere.
Boomerangs are rare. Build with your ride or dies.
It's really hard to make the return trip work when it's the same company. And so the difference between these two concepts are bringing people back in that have left. They left for a reason. Whether you let them go or they quit, there's a reason they left. And maybe they're at a different place in their journey, but I think it's kind of like putting people on a PIP. Like a lot of them never make it out. And so it's a very rare case that the boomerang thing works well from my personal experience and then others I've seen. And then the boomeride thing, ultimately, like you know the people that are good. You've worked with them a long time and those are the ones you bring along with you and that's your crew. And sometimes people kind of fall off the boat. And maybe they get back on, but maybe not. AI gets you to 80%. Your voice is the final 20.
Don't forget distribution and your Rolodex.
I think the people that use it the best that I've seen they follow my 80-20 rule. So I don't think that any AI is at the point where you can just be 100%, like it can talk for you, do everything for you. So for me and the people that I work with, I just want to get it to 80%. So if I'm using it to write a post or write a VSL or write a YouTube script, whatever it is, I want to get it to 80%, 80% AI, 20% Chris. And the people that I see that are doing that, like you're still putting some emphasis on the real part of, you. I think we're getting really close to major revolt against all just AI generated slop.
Most creators live in the long tail. Own your business, not just your content.
Monetization beats going viral every time.
Like everybody sees Mr. Beast and is like, I want to be Mr. Beast. But Mr. Beast by definition is a 0.0001% of the creator economy, right? The vast majority of people are on the long tail, right? And the long tail is you have these viral moments where you have millions of views, but the payouts you get from these platforms are like dollars, maybe tens of dollars for like millions of views. So the platform, these social media platforms are able to generate all sorts of viewership, serve all sorts of ads, and give you like a de minimis payment off the back of that, even though your product or what you put out there has just gone viral, right? Our thesis around Kajabi is like, those moments are great. And we're not saying don't have those moments because distribution is amazing. But the question is, what do you put behind it that makes it sustainable and helps you capture that value and turn it into a business?
Kevin, I can't believe we've done 20 episodes. I mean,
so
a few more than that by now, actually.
It's pretty cool.
I'm stoked, man. What do you think the next 20 are going to be like? Pretty good?
I think they're going to be better. I think we kind of like got our teething done with the first 20. And I think now it's really, sort of scaling this out. And I'm hyped for the next 20 because I think some of these are going to be in person and, kicking it up a notch with studio.
Yeah, stay tuned. Subscribe, like, reshare, review, comment. Tell us what you loved from the first 20 episodes, what you hated, what you want to see more of. And maybe we'll bring a guest or two back to hear what they've been up to since the last time they were here.
Awesome. Talk soon, Jason.